But first, a Manhattan judge has ordered Donald Trump to pay millions of dollars in his civil fraud trial in New York. Mr. Trump and some executives with the Trump Organization must pay more than $360 million in fines. He is also barred from doing business in New York State for 3 years. The former president spoke Friday evening following the ruling, calling it, quote, election interference. CBS News chief election and campaign correspondent Robert Costa reports.
Well, thank you very much.
Tonight, a potentially crushing blow to Donald Trump's business empire and bank account. The former president ordered to pay more than $350 million and banned from running a business in New York or applying for loans in the state for 3 years. His 2 sons each fined $4 million and barred from doing business in New York for 2 years, thrusting the leadership of the family company into peril.
Being prohibited from doing business in your home state or the state where you have so many properties and so many business activities is an absolutely devastating sanction.
Trump lawyer Alina Habba called the verdict a manifest injustice and said an appeal battle is coming. The former president reacted late today.
It's a very sad day for, in my opinion, the country. A New York State judge just ruled that he's crooked as you could get. And a lot of people expected something like this, but not for the amount.
In his ruling, Judge Arthur Engoron said of Trump and the other defendants, their complete lack of remorse borders on pathological.
This whole thing is very unfair.
On Trump himself, who took the stand 2 times, the judge said his refusal to answer the questions directly, or in some cases at all, severely compromised his credibility. Judge Engoron had already ruled that Trump and his sons and company executives committed years of business fraud, fraudulently inflating their assets to boost the former president's net worth, including his Trump Tower penthouse and Mar-a-Lago, exaggerating its value by as much as 2,300%.
Thank you very much.
Today's penalty caps a 3-month trial in a lawsuit brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James.
The scale and the scope of Donald Trump's fraud is staggering. And so too is his ego and his belief that the rules do not apply to him.
In a separate civil defamation case related to alleged sexual assault, the former president was ordered to pay over $83 million to E. Jean Carroll. And his criminal trial involving hush money payments to Stormy Daniels begins next month.
And Robert joins us now from outside Trump Tower in New York City. So, Bob, you were in the courtroom for most of this trial. How surprising is this ruling? What stands out about it?
It's not surprising, Elaine, because it was so clear in this courtroom over the past few months that former President Donald Trump and Judge Arthur Engoron were on edge about each other, about this case. Trump would oftentimes sit front row alongside his lawyers, and he would voice complaints about this civil fraud trial as it unfolded. And now you have a sweeping penalty from Judge Engoron that does create real problems, potentially, for Trump and his company and his sons.
All right, sweeping indeed. Robert Costa for us. Bob, thank you. Jessica Levinson joins us now. She's a CBS News legal contributor and professor at Loyola Law School. Jessica, what stands out to you from this decision?
Well, even though I agree with Bob, it wasn't surprising. It's just a huge amount of money. Let's be honest, even for somebody who has campaigned on how successful he is as a businessman, it's a lot of money. The other thing that stands out is that Letitia James got a lot of what she asked for. This isn't just about monetary damages. As you laid out very clearly, this is also about making sure that Donald Trump and the Trump Organization can't serve as directors or officers in the state of New York for 3 years, that they can't take out loans in New York, and that there will be an independent monitor for at least 3 years looking over the business practices, all of which I think saying very loudly, we don't trust you. We will be looking at you, and we want to send a message with this verdict.
So the judge found the former president and the Trump Organization jointly liable. What is the process, Jessica, to determine who will actually have to pay?
So joint and several liability, as was the case here on the big monetary amounts that Judge Engoron found that Trump and the Trump Organization, the Trump Revocable Trust were all found liable for. It means that each party is liable for the full amount, so that if one party says, I can't pay, then another party could be on the hook for 100%. At this point, I think all we can say is it's going to be up to each one of those entities and the people who lead those entities to determine how they are going to divvy up and how they are going to pay for that amount, because we know that you have to pay money in New York while the appeal is pending. So just by virtue of saying, I'm going to appeal, that doesn't put off the requirement here, the legal requirement to pay these fines.
Right. All right. Jessica Levinson for us. Jessica, thank you.